Hello everyone and welcome to my, well, as of now, no name channel. I'm going to try and think of a name very soon, and by the time you watch this video, hopefully I have a name for my video. I'm literally sitting in my basement, and I just got this mic. It's a very powerful mic. It's picking up every small little noise, and just behind me is my home furnace. So when the furnace goes on, you probably might start hearing that, so apologies in advance for that. What do I have to start with? First time that I'm doing a YouTube channel. I'm not going live for the first time. Well, this is not live, but I've done Facebook Live in 2016, and I like that experience because going live, you have people that you're interacting with, so it's easier to do a recording. Over here, I'm like sitting here talking to myself to a screen, not very comforting. But yeah, why am I doing this? I think a lot of people have been on my back, telling me, Shahab, yeah, start your own thing. You've got some content that you can start a YouTube on. And it's just that I was waiting for the right time. The right time never happens. So I finally, I saw something. Well, there's lots of hot things going on, and they keep happening every few. If you're following Pakistani politics, the cycle is very frequent of crazy news, and I feel that a lot of the channels that you watch, and you know what, मैं शायद कोशिश करूँ कि मैं शायद उर्दू में भी थोड़ी बात करूँ because I don't want to lose the Urdu speaking audience either. So a lot of times we hear a lot of this. हम लोग जो अपने पाकिस्तानी पॉलिटिकल शोज देखते हैं, टॉक शोज हो गए, या जिस तरह मंसूर अली खान साहब कहते हैं लौंडे लपाड़े हो गए ऑनलाइन. Maybe that's a good name for my channel, Londa Lapada. But I'm not in the Londa Lapada age bracket. We hear a lot of content which is good, but not to the level where I think it adds any value. Just like the recent elections are showing that a lot of youth have a much more deeper understanding of the political process than, let's say, the dinosaurs like us. But I still feel कि हमारे पास अभी थोड़ा सा value है that we can share with the younger generation. So I feel a lot of the content that's out there is not deep enough. It's not very insightful. It's stuff that, I'll give you an example. ECP का जो भी elections हुए, ECP ने जो forms डाले, I don't want to single him out, but he was brave enough. Mansoor Ali Khan Sahab, I watch his YouTube show very religiously, one of his million subscribers. But I was underwhelmed when I saw the way he covered जो उन्होंने कहा था कि मैं हल्का खोल रहा हूँ, हल्का खोल तो लिया, लेकिन the kind of reporting that he did was very underwhelming, and I don't mean that in an offensive way. Just mean to say that मैं थोड़ा सा शायद ज़्यादा उनसे expect कर रहा था कि यार थोड़ा ज़्यादा deep जाएंगे, rather than just looking at forms and कि इतने forms में घपला हुआ, इतने में नहीं हुआ, ये तो हम भी कर सकते थे. We all have access to Google Drive. हम लोग भी बना सकते हैं Excel sheet, and हम देख सकते हैं क्या है और क्या नहीं है. What we need to do is a little deeper than that. Just go in a little deep and see what exactly happened. And there are a lot of claims being made. And fact of the matter is, PTI has a very strong narrative out there, and they were the first one to the game. And once you're the first one to pass your narrative, now everyone else is chasing your narrative. Okay, so everyone's is on the defensive now. And I feel not that it's a bad thing from the PTI side. I actually appreciate what they do. They're very good at their game. But the silence of the lamb, or the silence of the share, I would say, share as in lion, PMLN completely silent, which is fine. But what actually bothers me is the state is silent. The ECP has not really done much to explain what they're doing. And right at the beginning, मैंने देख लिया था कि NA-130 एक ऐसा हल्का है जो थोड़ा सा problematic है, and whether that problem was done wittingly or unwittingly, जानबूझ के किया गया है या नहीं जानबूझ के किया गया है, वो मैं आपके ऊपर छोड़ देता हूँ. लेकिन I feel that a lot of it looks a little shady, and therefore someone has to go out there and do a proper analysis of what's going on. There are claims being made कि यार यास्मीन राशिद साहिबा जीत गई हैं और वो like it's a no-brainer. She should be winning, and therefore, Imran Khan कह रहा हूँ, Nawaz Sharif should not be uh, in the assembly right now. And now I'm seeing a lot of commentary, like people from like Najam Sethi साहब, उनका ये कहना है कि शायद आगे जाके नवाज शरीफ साहब को माइनस कर दिया जाए on the basis of the results of NA-130. How that will happen, what is the modus operandi, that is something we'll find out in time. But I feel a lot of it is exaggerated, and the numbers don't really back that up. I mean, करने को तो बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. You can imagine हम ऐसे मुल्क में रहते हैं जहाँ पे एक सिटिंग प्राइम मिनिस्टर को एक बहुत ही छोटी सी चीज़ पे फारिग कर दिया जाता है कि यार आपने अपने बेटे से सैलरी नहीं ली, एंड देन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ लीगल loopholes they try to find and definitions that they try to define just to back their absurd jurisprudence. And then, it is Pakistan, so you never know. However remote the possibility of NA-130 flipping or someone getting disqualified, but the fact is, it's Pakistan. Anything can happen. Even the most remote of possibilities might be the most preponderant probability. I'm sorry, I'll try not to use those big words. Take a little water break. Fortunately, यहाँ पे रात के 10 बज रहे हैं, तो हमारा रोज़ा खुल चुका है काफ़ी अर्से पहले. मैंने खाना भी काफ़ी खाया हुआ है, तो this mic is so strong, if I burp you might probably hear me. On the mic मुझे एक स्टोरी याद आ गई कि हम जब when I was a teenager at 17 or 18 years old, we used to have a band, and one of the guys in our group who was the lead singer, or at least he thought he was the lead singer. You know how we when we perform on stage, we do a mic check. We go sound check, hello, 1 2 3, that kind of thing. तो ये सब क्या किया करते थे हमारे lead singer? He would make the most ugliest sound on the mic. So just imagine people are getting on, sitting on their seats. Everyone is talking to one another. अभी show शुरू नहीं हुआ है. He would come on the mic and go like, instead of saying hello, sound check 1 2 3, he would be like, "Buh," something like that. It was really ugly. We would really scare everyone. हम लोग कहते यार ये ना क्या कर, क्यों हमारी इज्जत तू पानी में डाल रहा है. But anyways, digressing. Again, so what I want to do today, I want to show you the case of NA-130, okay? And I hope I can do this in like 15 to 20 minutes. I have a problem of ranting, and Imam Zaid Shakir, I once heard him say that never give a phone to a teenager and a microphone to a preacher. So I don't know if I'm a preacher. A lot of people say I'm a Maulvi, but this thing can be my kryptonite. But let's see. It's very daunting too. I'm normally not this nervous, but just the fact that there's a mic in front of me kind of makes me nervous. Okay, let's get started. So what I want to do basically is I want to address specifically some of the claims that PTI is making, and also some of the claims, the counterclaims that are being made to against PTI, as well as the commentary that's coming up now that I'm hearing from people like Miftah Ismail and many others, Najam Sethi Saab, कि यार Nawaz Sharif is like a sacrificial lamb, he's about to go anytime. हमारे शेख रशीद साहब कहते हैं ना कि ईद से पहले या कुर्बानी से पहले क्या हो जाएगा, स्लॉटर हो जाएगा, जो भी लफ्ज़ था जो इस्तेमाल करते थे. Thank God we don't see much of him anymore. But what I want to do is I want to address that. कि ठीक है यार, there are a lot of shady things here that I'll get into in a bit. I'll give you examples of it. But for me, materiality is very important. Okay, materiality से क्या मुराद है? उससे मुराद ये है कि यार अगर तो हुआ भी है, let's say धांधली हुई है, ठीक है, लेकिन क्या धांधली इस लेवल पे हुई है कि जिसके वजह से ये रिजल्ट्स फ्लिप हो सकते हैं या कन्वर्ट हो सकते हैं कि यास्मीन राशिद साहिबा जीत जाए और नवाज शरीफ को जो अभी जीते हुए उनको फारिग कर दिया जाए. This is the main question. Materiality is very important in law, because you could have a claim, a true claim, but if it doesn't impact the outcome, then courts won't either entertain it or they will not grant you your prayer. जैसे कि आपने कहा भाई मुझे जीतना चाहिए था, धांधली हुई है तो इनको फारिग करें, मुझे वापस रीइंस्टेट करें या दोबारा इलेक्शन करवाएं। आपका क्लेम सही हो सकता है बिकॉज देयर कैन बी पार्शियल ट्रूथ or half truth inside your narrative, but the fact that it doesn't override the overall narrative, जो पूरा जो मतलब इस लेवल का, जस्ट लेट्स से 10,000 वोट अगर आपके जाली निकलते हैं, ठीक है, या 50,000 वोट आपके जाली निकलते हैं, फैक्ट इज के अकॉर्डिंग टू फॉर्म 47 उनके 180,000 कुछ वोट हैं, तो उसको आप माइनस करें तो फिर भी वो लेवल नहीं आता जहाँ पे decision reverse हो सके. बहरहाल, I'm going to try and show you that the case of materiality, does it really, does this really matter? And then obviously, I'll get into Najm Sethi's claim specifically, because fact is that there is enough fodder in all of this information. यानी कि इसमें इतना मवाद है कि अगर कोई चाहे, कोई with some malified intention, or let's say more loyal than the king intention, कि यार मुझको help करना है अपने खान साहब को, because there are people inside the system, or maybe not even Khan, let's say they want to help Bilal Bhutto or Zardari to do something against and come and take over the civilian facade, which I don't know why I call it facade, but it is true in a way. The people who are controlling it from the back may not be happy with someone. They want to remove this marionette and get another one. You never know. So in any event, I want to address that claim. Again, you can see that I'm ranting a little bit here. And hopefully, as I get more into this groove, I'll stop ranting as much. तो मैं ये scenarios आपको दिखाऊंगा कि यार, what is the probability of what Najm Sethi is claiming can actually happen? There is a remote possibility. What is that possibility? We'll try to do that in a mathematical formula. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Let's see what I've got here. And I'm going to be playing around with my mouse and my screen a little bit, so forgive me if I'm unable to show you. You just saw the name of my entire family. Okay, so let's go have it over here, and I want to show you the macro cell. अच्छा, मैं ये जो एक्सेल शीट मैंने बनाई है, इसमें मैंने कुछ सिर्फ फॉर्म्स के से जो मवाद मिला है, ना सिर्फ मैंने वो डाला हुआ है इसके अंदर, but what I've done is that I've created a scenario or a scenario builder. And as soon as this loads, I'll be able to show it to you. So there you go. That's my first sheet. Okay, the first sheet shows you something over here that's bothering me. Anyways, well, before I show you this, in fact, let me show you something else. Let's take an overall topological view of what has happened. So, ECP versus PTI form 45. This is what it looks like from the top. ठीक है, ये ECP पे ये जो NA-130 का जो elections हुए थे, इसमें तकरीबन 376, तकरीबन क्या, definitely 376 form 45s हैं. And I was watching Mansoor Ali Khan's show, and his guest there, who was the PTI's lead election agent, he claimed that there were actually 576 or 756 forms. I think he used the number 756. I don't know why he said that and why Mansoor Ali Khan साहब ने उनको push back क्यों नहीं किया. But it could be that he included maybe some other polling stations for provincial assembly. Although Mansoor Ali Khan ने उनसे specifically पूछा था कि national assembly की बात कर रहे हैं. तो I think he should have pushed him back a bit more कि यार, अगर आपको इतना basic fact नहीं पता अपने हल्के का, तो बाकी सब मैं आपकी क्या claims को मानूँ. But anyways, तो 376 forms थे, जिसमें से 262 forms जो हैं वो PTR और ECP के identical हैं. यानी कि the numbers that are being shown on both these forms match. Maybe the signs don't match, maybe the handwriting does not match, which is fine, because a lot of, in the case of PTI के forms में अक्सर ये हुआ है कि उन्होंने कार्बन कॉपी जो हुई थी जो obviously they got a carbon copy, तो उन्होंने उसके ऊपर अपनी handwriting भी डाली हुई खुद. So there is overwriting on their own form, but the fact is it still tallies with PTI's, ECP's form. So 262 of them are identical, and 114 of them are not identical. And those that are not identical, 41 of them जो है वो PTI के forms जो है वो missing है. यानी कि और ये चीज़ में उनके जो lead election agent थे उन्होंने भी इस बात को माना था कि यार I think he said the number was 336 कि उनके पास सिर्फ 336 forms थे, बाकी सारे उनके forms missing थे, नहीं मिले या खो गए, I don't know, but that's what he said. Now, out of those, so in the case of those 41 PTI missing forms, because PTI के forms हमारे पास नहीं है, तो हमारे पास और क्या मवाद है? We only have ECP, so we can only trust ECP's data on that, on those 41. PTI has no claim on those 41 polling stations. But aside from that, there are 79 irregularities out of the 114 that are that I'm showing as non-identical. Now, if you add up 79 plus 41, if you're doing your due diligence trying to fact check me, 79 plus 41 definitely does not make 114. So why? Well, the reason for that is कि असल में there are 73 irregularities, and there are 6 irregularities that are actually in forms that are missing from PTI. यानी कि PTI के forms में irregularity नहीं है, ECP के form में irregularity है, and that irregularity basically I have been able to spot because of overriding. Okay, so maybe I'll give you an example too as we go on. By the way, I just realized I forgot to connect this. So it's 79. So PTI के जो 41 forms है, ये फारिग. हम इसको हम obviously I can't show you anything of this. But what I can show you is these 79 irregularities, and these I have split into 4 types. And later on you'll see I call them my 4 variables. Okay, because in any mathematical model, you want to put in variables and then see your scenarios. और फिर mathematically you try to calculate के कितने probability chance है कि यार बंदा जीतेगा या हारेगा या जो भी सी combination हो सकती हैं, ठीक है? So out of those 79 irregular forms, 41 of them had 1,000 digit added, ठीक है? यानी कि जो leftmost digit होता है वो उसमें add किया गया, जिसको मंसूर अली खान साहब कहते हैं डंडा लगा दिया, which is which, and I want to, because I'll use this term a little later and maybe a lot, so I want you to understand, this is my own terminology, I don't know how ECP uses it, लेकिन मैं इसको कहूँगा कि यार एक होता है first run और होता है second run, ठीक है? तो जब ये ECP के forms जब भरे जा रहे थे, जब ये form 45 भरे जा रहे थे first time, तो इसको कहेंगे first run, ठीक है? अब इस first run के अंदर भी थोड़े बदलाव हो सकता है, ठीक है? या देखिए किसी ने scratch कर दिया और जैसे कि 2 को गलती से उसने 3 लिख दिया तो उसको उसने काट के उसको 2 कर दिया. That's a first run still, because that was just a writing error, from in terms of typing, typographical error. लेकिन जो second run था, second run पे ये होता है कि फॉर्म भर दिया गया, सबको दे दिया गया, लेकिन उसके बाद फिर PO साहब ने, आपको हमारे presiding officer जो थे in each polling station, they decided to change for whatever reason. Maybe they forgot to count it well. I don't want to get into those their reasons for doing so. I want to leave that to your decision. लेकिन बहरहाल वो second run पे edits हुए. So this is what these my variables here. This the red one, the blue one, and the green one are all second run edits. ठीक है? So 41 of these forms have about the 1,000 digit that has been added. So right off the bat, let's say अगर 291 votes मिले हैं तो they're showing as 1,291, ठीक है? और इनमें से out of the 41, 4 of them were PTI's missing forms. तो यानी कि PTI का कोई equivalent नहीं था इस form का, लेकिन सिर्फ ECB का form था. लेकिन मैंने, because I was able to see that there was a second run edit. How do I know it's a second run edit? Mostly because वो डंडा लगा हुआ है और उसके साथ एक initial लगा हुआ है. That gives it away कि यार this is a second run edit. किसी ने ये बाद में किया है और फिर उसको फिर साइन किया है ताकि for due diligence, ताकि पता लगे कि किसने exactly किया है, and then that's how you give it validity, I guess. Same way, there are 4 ECP forms out of that 79 irregular that I'm talking about where the votes have been swapped. Okay, vote swapping का मतलब क्या है? उससे मुराद है कि जो वोट्स दिखाए जा रहे हैं यास्मीन रशीद साहिबा को मिले और जो वोट्स दिखाए जा रहे हैं जो नवाज शरीफ को साहब मिले नवाज शरीफ साहब को मिले on column number 2 or I think it's column 3. I will see that when we start looking at the images. वो वहाँ पे उन्होंने उसको swap कर दिया है, ठीक है? तो या तो ड्यू टू एरर या जो भी हो, एंड इट इज़ वेरी नॉर्मल, होता है ऐसे. ये नॉर्मल नहीं है. दिस 1000 डिजिट जो ऐड हो रहा है ना, ये नॉर्मल नहीं है. ये इनफैक्ट जितने भी मैंने हल्के अभी तक से खोल के देखे हैं, आई हैव बीन शॉक टू सी कि NA-130 में ये इतने लेवल पे हुआ है. लाइक यू वुड हैव थॉट कि NA-128 में ही ज़्यादा होगा बिकॉज वहाँ पे सलमान अकरम राजा और हमारे जो है भाई साहब उनका नाम नहीं मुझे याद आ रहा, बहरहाल उनके जो खड़े हुए थे उनके अगेंस्ट ऑन चौधरी, तो उन्होंने जो है उनके फॉर्म्स में आपको इतना डिजिट एडिट नहीं दिखेगा, इतना सेकंड रन एडिट्स नहीं दिखेगा जितना NA-130 में दिख रहा है. इट्स abnormally high. Okay, be that as it may, just let's move on. तो ये यहाँ पे हुआ है वोट स्वैप, ठीक है? या तो कॉलम नंबर 3 पे हुआ है या कॉलम 6 पे वोट्स को दिखाने के स्वैप हुआ है. एंड अगेन वन ऑफ देम is a PTI missing form, and I know it's a vote swap because I can clearly see कि उसको काट पीट के उन्होंने ऊपर नीचे किया हुआ है. And sometimes to the benefit of Yasmin Rashida Saab, so Rashid Sahiba. Okay, then the third kind of regularity, or the variable number 3, is जो 800 digit जो है, sorry 8 of the forms में जो 100 digit है उसको उन्होंने alter किया हुआ है. ओके, तो यहाँ पे जैसे कि इस केस में है कि उन्होंने एक डंडी लगा दी, एक 1 का मार्क लगा दिया, और you know it seems like the votes have gone up by 1000. And again I'm saying that, you know, these are all assumptions, and I want to come back to that assumptions again, not now but after I finish presenting this slide. So 8 of those forms have the 100 digit that has been altered. Again, one of them was a PTI missing form. So you know, we would have to in this one case, in this one case, in this 4 case, we don't really have a PTI version, so we'll have to trust the ECP version. And then finally there are 26 mismatches. What do I mean by mismatches? इसका example भी आपको दिखाऊंगा. The mismatches that are there are basically PTI का form और ECP का form are polar opposites. ठीक है, यानी कि जैसे मैं दिखा रहा हूँ कि ये 262 identical. These 26 are so opposite that it's not even funny. Like it's, and I'll get an example. I think Mansoor Ali Khan showed one of these forms, and he missed the fact that this was so blatantly different that, you know, and again, where do you take that whose form is correct? I'll show you one example to show you why exactly I'm doubting some of PTI's claims. Not that all of their claims are wrong, but on these 26 mismatches, their claim, to me at least, doesn't look that valid. Okay, and I'll show you my evidence for that. Anyways, let's go back to my Excel sheet. How am I doing for time? I don't even know when I started. Okay, so this is all the forms right here. What I've done here is I've यहाँ पे मैंने सारे polling stations डाले में, if you can see, all the way down to 376. So I've got 376 here, and my total actually comes out to 163,746 as compared to ECP को जो form 47 था उसमें नवाज शरीफ के votes 179,310 है. Now that's a variance of about 15,000 votes. Okay, you might, you know, flags might go up here. What the hell is going on here? Like, and there's a reason for this. Let me show you exactly what I mean before I start giving you my explanation. God, cut मैंने यार. Was it constants? I think it's this one, column 6. Okay, here we go. So ECP 45 forms, 2 of them. एक polling station 173 का है और एक polling station 247 का है. तो अगर आप इसमें देखेंगे ना तो डंडी आपको दिख रही है कॉलम नंबर 3 में 1263, लेकिन कॉलम नंबर 6 पे, which is the column that matters, is because ये जो है इसको, you know, I think this is the one that people should be looking at because no adjustments were made here. This could be maybe someone doing it by mistake, yeah, या जानबूझ के किया लेकिन उन्होंने फिर यहाँ पे नहीं किया, तो मैंने क्या किया है, I went with this number. Why? Because I'm looking at total votes as well. Yeah. So I went with this number and not with this number. And this didn't just happen in one. There were many cases. I just gave you two examples here. यहाँ पे भी देखिए exactly ये चीज़ हुई है कि यहाँ पे 1 लगाया लेकिन इधर नहीं लगाया. लेकिन बहरहाल column 6 matters. This is the unless कि यहाँ पे लगा के उन्होंने यहाँ पे फिर उसको जो है edit किया, लेकिन उन्होंने 1000 votes यहाँ नहीं डाले. That's why I'm going with this number and not with this number. That's why you will see that my number, my total is coming out to 15,000 less. There were so many of these forms, and I only showed you two. Again, because this is the level of detail that I wanted to talk about, because I don't think ये कोई भी कर रहा है. I don't know why that is the case, लेकिन बहरहाल you want to see this, okay? Now, like I said, मैंने ये जो numbering की हुई और coloring की हुई, it's basically the projection of this: red, blue, green, purple. Okay, red, blue, green, purple. Same thing. If you look at the explanation, it's the same thing here. Okay, and I give these variables because when I start doing my scenario, यहाँ पे मेरी scenario builder है, you will see why this matters, because I'll start doing, when I click this button, it will do a calculation, it will give you the final results. So coming back here, my total is 163, and again I'm doing that because I'm going with column 6 and not column 3. Okay, what I also want to show you, just for the sake of showing it, is that I have a filter here. So what I can do is I can show you, for example, let's say start with constant. What do I mean by constant? These are all the forms that are similar between PTI and ECP. Okay, so ये black में जो है, this means that they're identical forms. So if I were to highlight this, and what the hell is happening? If you look at my count here, oh, why is it showing 263? It should be 262. But anyways, थोड़ा बहुत मुझे margin दे दे. These are all similar forms, okay? Similarly, if I were to show you only my variable 1, जिसमें 1000 digit add किया है, you can see this, सारे 1000 digits add किए हैं, ठीक है? ये वो वाले examples हैं जहाँ पे you can clearly see that a 1 has been added on a second run edit. Very important, second run edit. Because there are examples where first run पे ही 1000 लगा हुआ है, and obviously PTI वाले कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, ये 1000 गलत है. It should only be 875, for example, and not 1875. But Berhal, because it's the first one, I accepted that, and that is a separate calculation I'll do. But these are the ones, the red ones are the ones, ये जो 40 41 हल्के हैं, sorry, polling stations हैं, इनमें तो clearly second one edits हुए हैं, ठीक है? Now based on that, and as you can see over here, there are at least two that, in fact there are more than two. There are 4 that are इसके PTI के forms नहीं है, they never had these forms. Okay, so, and you can check that. You can go on their Google Drives and check that they don't have these forms. So in this case, it will be very hard for us to say कि नहीं यार आपने इसमें 1 डाला हुआ है in a second run edit, तो हम आपका ये वाला नंबर नहीं मानते. भाई आपके पास क्या प्रूफ है? Because आपने ही हवा बनाया होता ना कि यार हमारे फॉर्म सच्चे, आपके फॉर्म झूठे. तो आपके पास तो सच भी नहीं है इस वक्त. You don't even have anything for me to compare. So I can only take ECP's word on this. And then obviously I'll show you more evidence. It's not just me just taking their word for it. There's other stuff that I need to show you. For example, you will see that polling agents of PTI have signed off on these forms of ECP. So, I mean, how can I reject that? Anyways, moving on. Let me just show you all of them again. Well, I already showed you them. So variable 4 is another one to mismatches. Again, this one is a very dirty one. Like you can see, it's so obviously different. Yes, अगर आप देखें ACB gets form 45, 1875 for Nawaz Sharif and Yasmin Rashid के 153 हैं. But if you look at PTI's form, Nawaz Sharif के 315 है और Yasmin Rashid के भी 153 नहीं है, 378 है. So big difference. And if you look at the writing too, it's very different. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start showing you examples. Okay. So let's take this. In fact, let's start with variable 1. There you go. All the variable ones. Let's see what kind of example I have set up here. Variable number 1, polling station number 6. Here we go. So on the left side I have the ECP form, and on the right side I have the PTI form. और इसमें अगर आप देखें तो again you will see on Yasmin Rashid forms you have 235, and on the ECP form you have 1235, both in column 3 and both in column 6. And you can see that it's clearly a second edit because it has been initialed. Initial का मतलब ही ये है कि यार किसी ने बाद में ये फॉर्म देखा है और बोला कि नहीं यार काउंटिंग या सही नहीं हुई या जो भी है या हमने धांधली करनी है, उन्होंने ये डंडा लगा के साइन कर दिया. In any event, these signs are helpful because these initials tell you who did this. If you look at this initial right here, you can, if I zoom it in, it's probably this guy right here, the senior officer who did this. So again, easy for you to track who exactly is the offending person. If you have to ever do, like, say, an investigation, you know who to call and ask questions. Berhal, so this was the example of variable 1. ठीक है, जहाँ पे 1000 digit add हुआ है second one edit पे, and you can clearly see it on the forms. Okay, good. Let's go to the next one. The next one is variable number 2. Variable 2 is vote swapped. Okay, there are only 4 instances of that, and you can see over here. Take this example. Again, look at the first one. PTI does not have their own form. उनके पास polling station 29 का form नहीं था. लेकिन I took this because you can clearly see कि ECP के form में भी ये numbers हैं और उन्होंने उसको swap किया हुआ है. Look at the second one because में PTI का भी form भी है, so I can show it to you. Basically, these ECP shows 179 for Nawaz Sharif and 286 for Yasmin, and then they flip it around. Okay, so let's see what example I've got here for you guys. PS 123. Is PS 123 on my list? Yeah, the second one. That's the one we were talking about. Take a look at this. So again, you can see over here, a swapping has been done. Okay, and the swapping has been done here in column column 3 and not 6. 6 वैसे के वैसा है और यहाँ पे ये है. ठीक है, so again, I've taken both possibilities because it's in, like I said, column 6 is what I go by because there's been no adjustment here. Obviously, if you're just swapping numbers, total does not need to be adjusted. So I'm going by column 6. Okay. Hopefully you guys are following thus far and I'm not boring the heck out of you guys. Let's go to variable number 3. By the way, my furnace just went off. I don't know अगर आप लोगों को आवाज़ आ रही है कि नहीं. Okay, variable number 3 is the 100th digit being altered. Okay, example, PS77. ECP के form में, well, let's start with PTI's form. PTI's form was showing 253 for Nawaz Sharif, but then in ECP's form, that 2 has been changed to a 7. Okay, now was this an error or not? We don't know. I mean, PTI will say that yes, this was done with bad intentions. Nawaz Sharif's supporters will say no, this was just a typo that needed to be fixed. In any event, when you look at the forms, remember what I said about the initial? This is most likely a second run edit. Okay, so a second run edit, again, I leave it to you guys and look at all these nice signs. Sabne dekha hua hai. Or you know, again, we can't tell for sure if this was signed after the second run edit or before the second run edit. यानी कि maybe these forms were signed जब पहली बार फॉर्म फिल किया गया था और फिर जब वो सारे चले गए, फारिग हो गए, तो ये भाई साहब ने इसको 2 को 7 बना के फिर इसको इनिशियल कर दिया. That is one possibility, but there's a second possibility कि इन सारों ने इसको विटनेस किया था कि नहीं वाकई में ये फर्स्ट रन में ही इन्होंने इस 2 को 7 किया और इन सबके सामने काउंटिंग हुई and therefore this needed to be changed. Okay, and again, we don't know whose side is telling the truth here, and that's why I'm going to do the scenario builder, because I'll do this scenario and this scenario and see who's winning. All right, variable 3 done. Let's go to variable number 4. the mismatches. Before I go there, let me show you the variable 4 on my sheet. So if you look at variable 4, lots of them, the 26 that I have, again, very different between these guys and these guys. यानी कि ECP का form बहुत मुख्तलिफ है from PTI forms. Example, PS number 18, polling station 18. Look over here. And I think Mansoor Ali Khan actually showed this this form as well. And I think by the tone of the way जिस तरह वो बात कर रहे थे, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि वो कहना ये चाह रहे हैं कि यार ECP ने डंडी मारी है और PTI ने नहीं मारी. We can take his word for it, but here's something I want you to consider. Okay, look very carefully at this form. Forget who signed it and who didn't sign it, because both are signed, both thumbprinted, everything is fine. But look at the fact of who has signed here. Okay, I can give you the discount के चलें यार ये कार्बन कॉपी है तो दिख रहा नहीं है. देखिए ये भी कार्बन कॉपी था, इस पे ऊपर से हैंड राइट किया गया है दोबारा से. ठीक है, ये हैंड राइटिंग और ये हैंड राइटिंग डजंट रियली मैच. तो ये किसी ने इसको ऊपर से कार्बन कॉपी को दोबारा अपने हाथ से लिखा गया है. अब हमारे जो पीटीआई के दोस्त हैं उनका ये कहना है कि यार हमारे लोग तो इतने फरिश्ते हैं, यू हैव टू टेक देम फॉर देयर वर्ड. उन्होंने हाथ से लिखा है तो उन्होंने सच लिखा है, लेकिन जो इन्होंने हाथ से लिखा है ये झूठ लिखा है. जो ECP हाथ से लिख रही है वो झूठ लिख रही है. चले आपकी बात मान लेते हैं. बट देन look at what's that's funny here. Look at these signs. There's a PTI person right here. Can you see it? And I'm sorry, you can see her name very clearly. It's Samia. Okay, sorry Samia, I think I might get you in trouble now. But you can see PTI's person has signed off on this form. Okay, so this person definitely saw this number. Okay, now some people can say ये 375 था, इसको 18775 कर दिया. Lekin the fact is that the PTI has signed this form. Okay, so it'll be very hard for the PTI to take this form as an example to a court of law, which is the Election Tribunal, and say कि यार इस form को नहीं, ECP की form को नहीं, हमारे form को माना जाए. I think you can see the evidence for yourself. Like which form do you think the court will take, this one or this one? Yeah, they could go for a recount कर सकते हैं, which I think should be done. Lekin fact is, yaar, based on the evidence, this is much weightier than this one. ECP is much weightier than the PTI form. Okay, so that's variable number 4. So I think I'm in 37 minutes. Holy, wasn't expecting to be this long, but anyways, I also have constant forms, which means identical forms between both Yasmin Rashid and ECP. So if you see here 135, 169, 135, 169, they both are the same. I think I have an example too. Let me just quickly check. Constant. There we go. Yeah. So you can see here, this is PS what? Polling station number, is that 2? Hold on, let me just quickly check. Yeah, polling station number 2. 261, 388, 261, 388, everything is fine. Looks pretty much the same. Everyone who signed on this form is also the same person who signed on this form. This guy, Hamid Ali or whatever the name is, you cannot see clearly here, but his name definitely is there. So these are very identical forms. And again, मैं आप लोगों को सिर्फ examples एक दो ही दिखा रहा हूँ, लेकिन if you really get into it and you look at the way I've categorized these differences into these 4 variables, यानी कि आप इन सारे जो forms जो हैं, 376 forms को जो है आप इन 5 variables में डाल सकते हैं. Well, I won't call this the 5th one a variable because it's the same, so we can exclude them, and they're good enough. The vast majority of them are identical, which is good, so we can put them aside. It's only these 114 that are a problem. Okay, and in variables को मैंने डाल दिया because when I start doing my scenario calculator, you will see how this makes a difference. Okay, so let's go to the scenario builder. Let me take a sip of water. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start by, well, let me just go down and show that this is the same thing that I did in the previous sheet. तो यहाँ पे भी मेरा वही total होगा 163,749. You can see the variance here, and my count actually is a little higher for Yasmin Rashid. But be that as it may, that's not a big deal. Let me now run this example. इसमें मैं क्या करूँगा? When I click this, then the 1000 digit will be removed. Okay, and I'll show you that. So if I were to click this, that's my macro kicking in and doing its magic. And now if I go up, in fact, you know what? And by the way, not all ones will go, because only the ones that are red will go away. Okay, so ye wala jo one hai, because it's variable 4, it'll still stay there, because they were not necessarily done it with bad intentions. So I will just filter on variable 1 to confirm with you that all the ones have been knocked off. There you go. All the ones are knocked off. Okay, what is the total that I end up with? I end up with a total of 122,000 versus मैं यास्मीन साहिबा का कोई कुछ नहीं कर रहा तो उनका constant रहेगा, तो her total will always be 107. Some people will argue नहीं यहाँ पे जो votes थे वो फिर इनको डाल देने चाहिए जो भी है. Let's get to that discussion a little later. But after I knock off these votes, now I'm with a variance of 56,000 as compared to 15,000 जो पहले था. So I mean, you can clearly see that even if, let's say, ECP मान लेती है PTI की बात है कि नहीं यार, ये सारे के सारे 41 जो हैं फॉर्म्स, ये सारे के सारे जाली हैं, या फिर अगर जाली नहीं है तो इनके वन्स आप उड़ा दें, तो वो उड़ाने के बाद भी नवाज शरीफ साहब फिर भी जीत रहे. ठीक है, ऑलराइट, लेट्स गो बैक. And I'm going to now reset this. So now this is back to what it was before. Again, 163,000. Okay, so we're back to the original. And now I'll just do this. Is ये सबसे minimal है, because obviously बहुत छोटे हैं और ये ज़्यादा लंबी कहानी है भी नहीं. तो if I were just do this, you will see that the difference is not much. So just a few hundred. यानी कि आपको याद होगा पहले variance was 15,000, now it's 16,000 something. ज़्यादा difference नहीं आया. ठीक है. So again, this is not a big deal. I'll reset it again. And now I will do variable number 3. Variable 3 क्या था? Changing the 100 digit. So इसमें अब क्या होगा? When I click this button, तो ये 1000 सारे के सारे रहेंगे जो PTI कह रहे हैं कि ये सब बेमानी है. For now we'll keep it on. लेकिन जो green वाले हैं, उसका जो फर्स्ट जिसका 100 डिजिट है वो चेंज हो जाएगा. ठीक है, and I'll show this to you. So let me just click on it. Oh, guess what? It's not working. Holy crap. Let me just see if I can do it on the fly. Assign macro. Do I have a variable 3? Yes, I do have a variable 3. Okay. Does it work now? Ooh, it worked. बिस्ती से बच गया मैं. So now you see, again, not a big deal, 21,000. So the biggest variable here seems to be variable 1 at the moment. Okay, and again I'll show it to you कि इसके जो first digit है वो change होंगे सारे के सारे. Oh my goodness. So PS28 91 हो गया. पहले 191 था, अब 91 हो गया. 77 PS77 में ये 753 था, अब 253 हो गया. So you see what I'm doing here. Okay, final one is variable number. Wait, hold on, I need to first of all reset this. Reset back to ECP numbers, and then do variable 4 analysis. So now all these variables I'm not changing, I'm only changing variable 4. Okay, variable 4 क्या है? Basically ECP और PTI का forms का mismatch है. So I will discard the ECP numbers and I'll use PTI numbers only. Okay, click. What's the difference? 38,000. Okay, big, but not as big as variable 1. But still, Nawaz Sharif is winning. So now let me do something else. I'm going to change all, well, let's start with just changing variables 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so yani ki remove the 1000 digits, swap the votes, and change the 100 digit as well. Okay, so let's do that. Click. What's your end result? still 115. So he's still, Nawaz Sharif is still winning. Okay, it's a variance of 64,000 votes, but he's still winning. All right, reset. And now let's do the final scenario, which is all four variables. So what do I mean by all four variables? And as you can see here, I've already told you the result. Only in this case, when I activate all four variables, यानी कि मैं सारे के सारे को, I remove the 1000 digit, I swap the votes, I change the 100 digit, and I also use PTI's numbers wherever there's a mismatch. Okay, अगर मैं ये सारे चारों के and these are the only four possibilities, because जितने भी आपने issues देखे हैं forms में, यही चार issues हैं, ठीक है, बार बार repeat हो रहे हैं. So these four, if I were to take all of them into account, what happens? This is when Yasmin Rashid wins. Okay, good. Now just let me reset this. And what is the likelihood of this happening? I say 4.2%. Why do I say this? Let me take a sip of water. I say this because if you remember high school math, we used to do something called permutations and combinations. So based on the number of variables, you have a very simple formula that you can use to see how many permutations are possible. Okay, यानी कि अगर आप चाह रहे हैं कि वेरिएबल 1 भी हो, यानी कि अगर हम लेट्स से हम लोग काजी फैज़ ईसा के सामने खड़े हैं और हम आर्ग्यू कर रहे हैं कि भाई देखें ये चार किस्म के जो फॉर्म्स हैं, चारों के चारों, यानी कि ऑब्वियसली इफ़ यू ऐड ऑल देम अप देयर 114 फॉर्म्स, ये सारे के सारे 114 forms are wrong. Okay, and for you to admit that, you would have to first admit that the variable 1 is correct, यानी कि जो PTI का claim है variable 1 that is correct, यानी कि 1000 digit ज़बरदस्ती ऐड किया गया है. Second thing is कि votes ज़बरदस्ती swap किए गए हैं. Third thing is कि 100 digit को ज़बरदस्ती change किया गया है. और चौथा है कि भाई जो mismatch हो रहा है ECB का और हमारे साथ, आप ECB का नहीं देखें, हमारा देखें. ठीक है, again it's a stretch, but this is Qazi Faiz Issa, I'm just taking him as an example. He said, okay, fine, I will do this. I will I'll grant you all the four variables. So what is the possibility of that? If you know math, the possibility is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And okay, fourth variable, third variable, second, and 1. Okay, so if you do multiply all this, what do you end up with? You end up with 24. Looks like Khan Academy right now, huh? Out of the 24, the only time that you can take all four variables is 1. So 1 out of 24. That's your possibility. 1 out of 24, which if you calculate will give you about 4.2%. Okay? So that is the possibility. यानी कि आप चाह रहे हैं, your chances of getting this done is 1 over 24. Yes, you can say, and again, it depends on your bias. अगर आप PTI के supporter and you are convinced that variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4 are all in our favor. Okay? But like I showed to you in variable number 4, यानी कि जहाँ mismatch हुआ है, I gave you an example. Go back to that example one more time. Look at this form. Everyone is saying कि यार PTI का claim सही है, ठीक है? ये claim सही है, ये claim गलत है. But then I'll come back to that. Look, all of them look good. They all have their due diligence. सबका अपने नाम है, शनाख्ती कार्ड के नंबर हैं और thumbprints हैं. लेकिन यहाँ पे signs हैं भाई, you know, and there's a PTI signatory on this as well. So very hard to convince anyone that discard ECP's form and take my form. It's just not going to happen. I mean, the best thing that can happen is यार के डब्बे खोलो और दोबारा से recounting करो. So, you know, I'm pleading to your bias right now. I'm telling you कि देखो, look at the evidence in front of you and question, because again मैं सिर्फ इसलिए कर रहा हूँ, not that I'm trying to trash PTI's narrative. I'm just saying that PTI is the loudest noise out there on at least digitally. Okay, they're making a lot of noise. और हमारे जो PMLN के शेयर हैं बेचारे, उनको तो यही ना मिट्टी पाओ हर चीज़ पे, ना इस पे बात करो. You know, they're putting their heads in the sand and waiting for the storm to blow over. And I think that's not the right approach to take. Okay, because at the end of the day, a lot of people who voted for PTI are first-time voters. Okay, well, even for PMLN for that matter. आप उनका confidence shake कर रहे हैं in your electoral system. Do you really want to do that? You know, do you not care about the country? So, well, I'm not going to get patriotic and all that stuff sitting in Canada. But yeah, like I said, if you take this to a court of law and just weigh this evidence versus this one, most likely the ACP evidence is the one that will win if you don't go to recounting. If you go to recounting, then we can confirm if this is correct or this is correct. Okay. All right. So is that all? I think that is pretty much all. Yeah, that's all. And this is what I have tried to do. So ये सारा बैठ के मैंने ख्वारी की है, एक रात पूरी काट के मैंने इशा के बाद से बैठ के लेके सहरी तक, आई थिंक वाज द फर्स्ट रमज़ान, मैंने बैठ के सारे मैक्रोज लिखे, डू ऑल दीज सिनेरियोज. एंड मेरा यही कहना था कि देखें, कम बैक टू माय वीडियो, व्हाट आई वाज ट्राइंग टू से वाज कि मैंने जितना भी ऑनलाइन या ऑन मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया मैंने जितना भी एनालिसिस देखी है, इट्स वेरी रूडिमेंट्री एंड इट्स नॉट वेरी थरो. ठीक है. Oh my goodness, I think I've gone over, well, was it 40 minutes? Wow, holy, 51 minutes. Oh, holy. Anyways, तो मैंने कोई, you know, thorough analysis नहीं देखी है. You know, people are showing me Excel sheets that anyone can do. Anyone can make Excel sheets and count votes and put them in. By the way, even in that, there's a little problem. What I will see as 253, someone will say कि नहीं मैं 253 नहीं लूँगा, मैं column 3 नहीं लूँगा, मैं column 6 लूँगा. मैं कहूँगा मैं column 6 नहीं, मैं column 3 लूँगा. So your numbers can vary, but not by that much. Fact of the matter is कि यार मैंने इस level की detail जो मैं चाह रहा था, मैं देखना चाह रहा था, you know, from PMLN or PTI or someone, do the scenario analysis, because materiality really matters. यार ये you can have a claim, it could be a true claim, like I said, you know, you could be true कि यार ये डंडे डाले गए हैं ज़बरदस्ती, ये 1000 votes डाले गए हैं extra, and the court might even agree with you. But then does it make a material change in the outcome? It doesn't. It still doesn't impact the outcome. So the judgment might come from the Election Tribunal or whoever it is. And again, this is one possibility. I'm not saying that this will be a judgment. They could say that yes, there were irregularities. However, it was not to the scale where we can change the result. And therefore, you know, Tata Baba ab apne form 45 mein pakode khaye. You know, that kind of thing. They can say that. So, and again, you know, when I come back to that claim by Najm Sethi जो कह रहे हैं कि यार ये हल्का खुलेगा, इसके फॉर्म्स देखे जाएंगे और फिर इसकी बुनियाद पे नवाज शरीफ को फारिग किया जाएगा, टाटा बाबा आप जाके लंदन में बैठे और शयान अली आपके घर पे बाहर बैठ के चोर चोर डाकू के नारे लगाएगा. ठीक है, हो सकता है, एनीथिंग इज पॉसिबल इन पाकिस्तान. बट अगेन, फॉर दिस टू हैपन, जस्ट लाइक इट हैपन इन द केस ऑफ व्हाट वाज दैट नाउ, कैपिटल FZE, that company, जिसमें आपने उनको फारिग किया था कि भाई इन्होंने अपने, what was the term that they use, unwithdrawn receivables or unwithdrawn salaries, इस तरह कुछ उन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया था, उसके बेसिस पे उन्होंने उनको डिस्क्वालीफाई कर दिया. तो इस केस में भी उनको अगर डिस्क्वालीफाई करना पड़ा, you know, what is the result? Can he be disqualified? Yes, he can. But well, not disqualified, that's not the word. Can he lose this? Can Nawaz Sharif lose this election? Yes, he can. But for that to happen, you would have to grant that variable 1, variable 2, 3, and 4 are all on PTI's favor. Okay, it's a big stretch. How big? 4.2%. Okay, you were saying that the likelihood of your claims to be correct from all of those 114 forms is 4.2%. So that's the straw that you're clutching at, frankly. You know, आप डूब रहे हैं and you're trying to find straws to clutch. Again, it can happen. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but I'm saying the odds of it happening are very low. But somehow Pakistan has this knack of the worst thing or the very least outcome happening all the time. What else do I have to say? Oh yeah, Form 47. There was some discussion on a Form 47 that was shown for this same halka. Again, इस हल्के को बार-बार controversial बनाया जा रहा है. There's a political aspect to this. Okay, and I don't want to I guess I'll discuss it, or maybe I won't, some other time. I hope to feature, can I call this a podcast? Videos in the future, and maybe we can discuss this, and maybe I can have people on this channel who can actually, because I don't have any eyes into legally kya ho raha hai wahan pe. So I hope that if people start noticing my work, I start getting some people who are actually in the legal know-how, not the Asad tours of the world, but more like maybe Abdul Qayyum Siddiqui, and maybe he's a much more trustworthy, and well, some PTI will beg to differ, but let's say Salman Akram Raja. Okay, maybe I can take him on and understand what is happening legally behind. The Form 47, coming back to that NA-130 का form, and again PML-N ने ये भी चूस मारी थी initially, if I remember correctly. उन्होंने एक half tabulated Form 47 को publish कर दिया, जो ECP ने publish नहीं किया था. ECP never published, and I argued this case with Hamad Azhar and Moni Salahi, among many other people in a space. They were relying on fake news. It was fake news. And who was the originator of the fake news? Most probably it was PML-N, because that's the first account that I saw. By the way, a lot of people are very happy with the new handle, or the new person who's handling the PML account. But this was a big screw up. It brought them into the defensive, and then it set the tone for NA-130 to become a very controversial halka. और अभी तक से वो controversy चल रही है. So what I'll say is that form was not the one to take on, and Mansur Ali Khan keeps talking about this. Not just him, many other मैं देख रहा हूँ people keep bringing back this form for some way. That news has been proven to be fake. Don't keep quoting it. It was a half tablet form. उसमें बहुत सारे parties के अभी भी numbers डाले नहीं थे, इसलिए आप उनको 000 देख रहे थे, because they were still tabulating, and some Johnny or some hero over there जो RO के ऑफिस में था, most probably PML-N का बंदा, उसने उसका प्रिंट आउट ले लिया या स्क्रीनशॉट ले लिया, और because obviously नवाज शरीफ और यास्मीन राशिद साहिबा का ये वोट्स टैबलेट हो चुके थे by then. Someone must have thought कि ओ भाई हम जीत गए, जल्दी से इसको डालो और अपने चैनल्स को दे दो. और ये भी हुआ था ना कि सबके अपने अपने चैनल्स थे. So they they didn't put it in any channel, लेकिन I believe इनके सोशल मीडिया पे फौरन आ गया था PML-N का कि देखो हमारे पास प्रूफ आ गया कि नवाज शरीफ has won this constituency. And again, this whole thing has become so controversial that it's actually a little disappointing, and it's taking the confidence of people in the system. However, that's all I have for you guys for this time. I don't know how I did. I probably stammered a lot. As I do more of these videos, and I hope to do more, I hope I'll do a better job. Keep it shorter. I think I'm getting into an hour now. Sorry about the long time, but I think this merited getting into the weeds of what really happened and what are the scenarios that I wanted to show you. So in the future, anyone who's watching this video, I would really ask you, and you know what, I should have said this in the beginning when I dekha a lot of these people who do these what you call them, vlogs, they ask you to subscribe. Well, I don't even have a channel name right now, but tomorrow morning, by the time you see this video, there will be a channel name. I would ask you to subscribe, because based on subscribership, I will see how good I'm going. If people are appreciating stuff, and even if they're not appreciating, I know there will be some pushback. Probably get lots of dislikes and some rude comments, which is fine. When you go public, you want to take criticism on the chin. So I'd ask you to subscribe. It's not going to end here. I'm hoping I can do a few more of these before I tackle some other subjects. But please do subscribe, and I'll try to see if I can put my handle name somewhere over here, Twitter handle, so you can follow me on Twitter. Well, if you're not already following me. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much, and see you next time.